It is already warming up out there, so get ready for a hot day. Thanks for joining us at 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Rampur. That's why we're going to start off with Evan here this morning to check that forecast. How hot are we talking on this Tuesday?
Yet another warm one out there. I mean, temperatures are going to look very similar to Monday. It looks like our forecast highs are going to be in the low 80s, in some cases toward the mid 80s along the coast, low to mid 90s inland. Ramona, for example, could climb another degree compared to yesterday. Many of your coastal communities, same situation. Mountains and deserts can be staying dry for the most part today, but it looks like into tomorrow some monsoonal moisture could be tapped into, allowing for some showers over the mountains tomorrow. But the heat remains today and tomorrow. It's not until Thursday into the weekend that we'll start to see a little bit of a cool down on the way. We'll have more details on the more fall-like weather after what has been a solid several days of some heat out there. We'll have details on how much we're going to be cooling down, when the real cool down will be felt out there, just a few minutes out. Netta, Eric, back to you.
Evan, thank you so much. And now this morning, the homeless issue back in the forefront. Today, county leaders will consider whether to formally declare homelessness a public health crisis. CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol joining us live outside the county administration building with the details on what this could lead to. Good morning, Dana Marie.
Good morning, Netta. Well, today is all about declaring homelessness as one of the county's top priorities. Many of the cities we saw yesterday at the press conference coming together to fix a very complex issue. Now, we did hear from Vice Chair Nora Vargas about what this public health crisis would mean and what it would accomplish.
We're going to be able to assess the county's programs and really look at the economic impacts of homelessness. This is going to drive future funding opportunities and advocacy. It's also going to create new incentives for cities and communities that are doing their part to improve housing, because the solution to homelessness is a home.
Now, the county has recently created the Department of Homeless Solutions and Equitable Communities to help build more affordable housing, increase tenant protections, and keep people in their homes. She says this is truly a collaborative effort in bringing this action forward to access county programs and really look at the economic impacts plaguing those who need access to the resources across San Diego. Now, we are also hearing this morning from Mayor Bill Wells of El Cajon and San Diego County Board of Supervisors District 4 candidate Amy Reichardt. They will hold a press conference because they are frustrated with what's happening in El Cajon surrounding the hotel voucher program. They claim the county is using their city as a dumping ground for people experiencing homelessness. The county says those claims are misinformed. Now, we spoke to Mayor Wells, who says 18 hotels in San Diego County are in the voucher program. 8 of those are in El Cajon. He says 2 motels were operating as homeless shelters because 100% of their occupants were homeless. Mayor Wells then issued warnings to these hotels, citing they were running an illegal homeless shelter. But according to the Attorney General's office, that's not the case. They demanded that El Cajon rescind the warnings and refrain from sending similar notices in the future. Attorney General Rob Bonta says the city of El Cajon was in violation of the Fair Employment and Housing Act, and people with vouchers should be able to stay in participating hotels. Now, this morning, we're going to hear more from Mayor Wells at 7:30 this morning. He will be holding that press conference at the County Administration Building, as well as the County Board of Supervisors. They're meeting at 9:30 this morning to discuss that public health crisis. So, of course, we have a lot to discuss this morning, a lot to cover, so stick with us as it progresses. I'm Dana Marie McNichol, coming to you live from downtown San Diego.
Dana Marie, thank you for that. And now this morning, local basketball legend Bill Walton is once again speaking out about our homeless crisis. Today, Walton and the nonprofit Lucky Duck Foundation will announce a new initiative to try to address this issue. Walton recently called out San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria, saying he's been chased and assaulted by the homeless right near Balboa Park. In a statement to CBS 8, the mayor's office said no one in our region is taking more action to address homelessness than the mayor.
This morning, San Diego's average gas price is at the highest in more than 6 months. It jumped about 12 cents overnight, now at $5.90 for a gallon of regular. CBS 8's Chris Grove live in Pacific Beach now. And then, Chris, that's one of the cheaper spots around town.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we are approaching some of those trends that we saw back in the summer and that early spring and early summertime when those gas prices were average gallon of gas was well over $6. And look, the numbers aren't great, but there does appear to be some relief on the way. We just might have to wait a month. Yeah, AAA says that November is likely going to be that time when we do start to see prices begin to go down. But take a look at your screen right there. These are the trends that we're talking about. That's why so many people are worried about this next month for gas prices. Average gallon of gas in San Diego has increased 11.6 cents overnight, and the average gallon of gas has now gone up 11 days in a row. The average gallon is now $5.90, and that's the highest since July 16th. In fact, it's gone up 48.5 cents since a week ago. That's 24 of the past 25 days. So again, the numbers do not paint a pretty picture, but it's important to point out we're still nowhere near those numbers that we saw back in the summer. It's just the trends, the days of moving up, the rate at which it's moving up. But $6.37, that's the average gallon of gas back in June. Now, as for why this is all happening, it has to do with the refineries. And AAA, they keep a close eye on that as well as those numbers that we just pointed out. But take a listen to what they had to say about gas prices and the refineries.
It's typically 15 to 20 cents less per gallon than the summer blend fuel.
Yeah, comparing again the summer blend here to what we are seeing now in the fall. Now, for more information on how to save money on gas, you can go to our website, cbs8.com, and click on that help button. Again, always a great tip to make sure that you're looking around at what gas prices are around you before filling up while these are going up, these prices. Eric?
All right, Chris, thanks for that. This morning, we are working for you on safety concerns over this crosswalk here in La Jolla, where a man was hit and killed earlier this year. His widow has filed a claim against the city of San Diego, saying officials were aware for years the crosswalk on Torrey Pines Road lacked adequate lighting. Community members have complained that the crosswalk was unsafe since it was installed in 2018. The attorney who filed the claim also says drivers coming around a curve in the road are often speeding.
The motorists can't see without lighting and high traffic. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
We reached out to the city to ask what they've done to make this crosswalk safer, and we are still waiting for a response.
Now, Cuba is being hit by Hurricane Ian right now. Take a look. It's lashing the island with rain and wind up to 125 miles an hour. And now look at people along Florida's west coast. They're bracing for Ian's arrival. This is a massive storm. In fact, it's expected to get stronger and become a Cat 4 in the Gulf of Mexico before it gets closer to Florida, which could happen by tomorrow. So take a look at this. The International Space Station passed over Hurricane Ian, and this gives you a sense of just how massive this is. This image was taken yesterday right before it hit Cuba. So it hit on the western portion of Cuba, and it didn't pass right through the island. That would have helped actually bring it down a little bit in intensity. But that is a huge storm that's not letting up. Let's check in with Evan now to see what's going on with Ian.
Yeah, the hope was that that higher terrain in Cuba would help to dissipate this storm. Not the case. I mean, you could see how it really just made a swipe right against the far west tip of Cuba. Around the Havana area, they're getting pounded as we speak, and the direction of this storm is likely right into Tampa, Florida. This is going to continue to intensify to a Category 4 storm and then start to break down on its arrival. Right now, sustained winds are at 125 miles per hour, moving north at 12 miles per hour. So this is right now a Category 3 storm moving toward the Tampa area. Again, you can see how pretty much all these spaghetti plots here show that Tampa is right in that line of sight before it curves right up through about the Jacksonville area, eventually becoming a post-tropical cyclone at that time. Storm surge, wind, two primary factors that we're keeping an eye on as the storm starts to make landfall. Right now, the timing of this looks to be just around your Wednesday that we'll start to see hurricane-like conditions across the western peninsula or western side of the peninsula. peninsula, I should say. And then if you go into Thursday, that's when we're likely to see that storm surge be most impactful. So the next 24, 48 hours are of prime concern for Floridians all the way across, especially the western coast there, all the way up really into the Tallahassee area. They're going to be seeing at least that stormy weather, but Tampa is right in the line of a possible Category 2 deteriorating to a Category 1 storm, and storm surge is really the prime concern right now, is just how high those heights could go, how much flooding could be taking place into the next 24 and 48 hours. Let's take a look at your current temperatures here locally in San Diego as we step outside. We're mostly in the 60s right now. 64 in Encinitas and Oceanside, 67 in Carlsbad, 60 in Ramona to kick off your morning, and 71, a little bit warmer in Julian, 73 in Alpine. A couple clouds that we've been seeing on most of our models from about Del Mar through the downtown area. You can see how there's this little area cloud cover around the Mount Soledad region. 5-day forecast shows that those temperatures are staying warm here in San Diego for us today and tomorrow before we start to see that gradual cool down into the weekend. Let's talk about traffic as we start off the day. So far, things have been quiet on the roads. No big surprise for the 6 o'clock hour. Let's zoom into just one crash that has now been cleared. So it looks like earlier on there was a crash here on the 5 southbound at La Jolla Village Drive. Wasn't ever causing any major delays on the southbound lanes there, which leads us to believe this was probably pushed over the right-hand shoulder rather quickly and now has been completely cleared from our maps. So we are back to no crashes or collisions reported from CHP right now as we head through the 6 o'clock hour. Back to you.